Utah State quarterback Kent Myers now career best in completions, yards for a game, and touchdowns. The numbers are 32 attempts, 20 completions, 314 yards, 4 scores, 1 pick, and his numbers now 14-2 on the year for Coach Wells as we get set for what should be a wild fourth quarter if the third quarter is any indicator.
Exactly, and you look at Utah State, we were just calculating up here, all of their scores have been within 4 to 6 or 7 plays and big chunks. That's the way they've been moving the ball down the field. Where you look at Air Force, they've got some little chunks here and there, but it's more been a sustained drive throughout the whole series.
You said earlier, Jay, Utah State had to pick up the pace, and in that last drive, 5 plays, 75 yards, under 2 minutes, it appeared they have.
Yeah, and they play better that way. That's where their offense really starts to click, because I think for an offense such as theirs, they want to catch you before you can make an adjustment. They want to catch you while you're trying to figure out what their offense will be getting ready to do. So that's what they need to continue to do. The defense needs to see what they can do to help the offense out now.
After the kick by Jake Thompson, ball out to the 25-yard line. 4 touchdown passes in this game for Myers. 39, 41, 44, and 48 yards. 3 to Sharp and 1 to Devontae Robinson moments ago.
Coach Calhoun, that was one of his keys. Their victory is not giving up big plays. So they still got the lead, but that's one of the things they're definitely have to work on.
This offense of Air Force today has 496 yards, 5 touchdowns, and yet this game still very much in doubt. Mike Thiessen, the offensive coordinator, has dialed up a fun game today in which the running attack took over in the first half against Utah State, and then the passing attack was very prolific with Robinette and Roberts teaming up. They'll start this drive on the ground.
And you can see right there, never, even when something wasn't there, started to go sideways, still finishes going forward. And I think that's a huge, and Visual, of course, is up there making another tackle.
By the way, the Air Force offensive coordinator, we talk about graduates of the academy, Mike Thiessen is one, and he was a quarterback here. Little end-around activity and blocking in front. Although the problem here is that there wasn't enough space on the near side of the field. Tyler Williams carried the football, diving for the sticks. Let's see where they mark him.
Right, now this is the play they did in the first half. Look at that, Kyler Fackrell. Look at the range and speed. In the first half, that play went for about 30-some-odd yards. His reaction recovery, he was able to turn and cut that thing to make that a shorter game than what it could have been.
Yeah, in fact, it negated the possibility of first down. It is 3rd and 2. High formation, one of the few formations we've not seen much of today from Air Force. Little pitch in the backfield. And enough for the first down in the second effort. Big play by Brian Driscoll, who was hit at the original line of scrimmage and broke the tackle.
Right here, Jalen Davis comes up, try to get him around the legs, does a good job of keeping on his feet. That's a tough play. Sometimes you get nipped right in the ankles enough and it makes you fall. He kept his feet, got that first down.
So the drive continues now from the 38. Air Force trying to take over first place in the division, pending Boise State's game tonight with New Mexico. Roberts on first down, incomplete. He is now 9 of 14 for 247 and a touchdown throw that intended for Tyler Williams.
I like the pass attempt sometimes on first down. I think in this situation, though, it might have been better to still keep it on the ground. You've been very effective, especially the last drive where you got the score. Keep it on the ground a little bit, eat up some clock, maybe go for that pass on that second down after you have some positive yards.
Especially when your ground game is netted 262 in 49 carries. The 50th run of the game for Driscoll, first down Air Force, and a pickup of 11.
Now this is what's harder for this.
That Owens, excuse me.
Right, and that's what's tougher for this defensive front. When you had DJ Johnson, a bigger back, more lumbering, versus a speed guy that can definitely hit the hole much quicker and makes more cuts once he's in there. So that puts a lot more pressure on this defensive front. I like to see him go back to the same play again.
And they go back to the ground, and a pickup of a couple, pending the spot into Utah State territory. Both teams have been in the other side of the field often today. That's not a surprise. These are two of the top offenses in the Mountain West. As Owens now with back-to-back carries and a gain of almost 3.
Utah State probably should dial up some pressure right now. They're moving guys around. Coming some outside blitz.
Roberts, little speed option, throwing over the middle. Robinette, circus catch, 30-yard line. Jalen Robinette is having a career day.
You got to know where he is at all times. They do a simple play action, run pressure, get everything going. Goes up high, secures that ball. Defender comes in low, trying to knock it free. Good catch, great concentration. And as a defender, it's hard to do because everything showed run. They actually ran to the right side, all motion went that way, pulled the linebackers up. Great play call by Air Force.
30 yards per carry for Robinette, or rather receptions, 7 receptions now, 210 yards. Oh yeah, we saw that coming.
Oh yes, we saw that coming big time. Big time. But this is to Air Force's credit to be able to pull these things up. And I mentioned Garrett Griffin before. They feel he's probably their best pass-catching person on the team. He only has a couple, so the tight end hasn't really gotten much involved in this game. So there's so many wrinkles that they can go to that other teams that run this offense can't.
They've used that big outside receiver in Jalen Robinette. Back to the ground. And the passing game has helped open up the ground game, and Tyler Williams carries for a first down. I think back to this running back in the first half and how many first down rushes he had in the game.
Exactly, and that's what, this offense is known for being ground control. What they've done is expanded that with the passing game. So defensively, it makes it tough because when you go against a team, they don't throw that much, and then you're trying to figure out when exactly when to throw. It just puts you in a box, and if guys don't stop the run first, it makes everything else difficult.
On the dive play for Owens, DJ Johnson was shaken up earlier in the game and limped off, so you mentioned Jacoby Owens having to carry that fullback spot a little bit more now in place of DJ, and we hope again he's going to be okay. But the beauty of this drive is they're now into red zone territory. They're in field goal range, and they're using clock.
And that's the big point, using clock and making this defense tired. Now, and like I said, they haven't brought a whole lot of pressure. It's kind of hard sometimes against us, but they have to start doing something to get them off the field.
Play clock at 7, pitch to Driscoll, running to the edge. And Brian Driscoll picking up close to 8 yards on the first down. Air Force has never trailed in this game. Got Utah State on its heels early. Aggies tied it twice, then a 2-touchdown lead, and now a 12-play drive, which is exactly what O.C. Thiessen and head coach Calhoun would love in this position.
Right, and you mentioned a nice stat. Going to this game prep, at home, they've only trailed 10 minutes.
Wow. That
is sheer domination by offense and defense making plays to get off the field so the offense can get back on and put points on.
2 tight end set, 3rd and 3. Driscoll straight ahead. He's close, but appears to be short, and now a decision. You need less than a yard, but a field goal gives you a 2-score lead if you make it.
It does, but with the way this offense is playing right now and how the defense is on the hill, I go for it.
Ooh,
I go for it. You're home. This game means something. You want to make sure you saw Utah State. They can explode on you, so put the points up.
Falcons go quickly. Do they have enough? Utah State says no. Aggies say they held. And if they did, it would be huge.
The only thing is I would have ran the ball outside, not inside. Watch as this happens.
To stop short of the line to gain. First down, Utah State.
How about this?
Yeah, if you had DJ Johnson, you run up the middle, in my opinion. In this play, you make it think it's up the middle, and you run outside. At least you give your playmakers a chance in space to possibly make something happen. Great stop, though, by Utah State. They got bowled down the field, worked up 13-play drive, was able to get off.
It'll be a decision that if Utah State comes back to tie, that'll be second guessed as Air Force goes away from a makeable field goal. Jay, you've had a couple of minutes to think about Calhoun and Thiessen going for it on fourth down, not taking a short field goal. Bad decision.
I still think it's a bad decision because of how they've been playing. Being that your big fullback is out, I wouldn't have ran the dive or went outside.
Aggies running on first down and not much available. Needing a touchdown to tie the game. Utah State has scored 2 touchdowns on 2 consecutive drives after being stopped 6 times on possessions in succession.
And you think about it, they were big plays. They got some running going that last drive, but it was the pass play that got them into the end zone. This defense has to make sure they do not give up the big pass play. Look up top, might be trying to do the same thing. They're man-to-man coverage.
Speaking of big plays, Kent Myers has 4 touchdown throws, all over 40 yards. Goes play action, out to the flat. Rodriguez diving catch. Not much available there. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 7. That Air Force drive that netted nothing was 13 plays, 65 yards. Did chew clock up at 5:40.
And that's what you want out of your offense. It would have been nice if they could have got the conversion. But at least they did take time off the clock. They put the defense on. You pinned them back. So if you get this stop, they punt the ball, you're starting at the 50 or 40-yard line. So it still can work out to your favor. This is a huge play. If I'm Air Force, I show pressure and I drop back in zone.
Crowd into it. They're going to bring 4. Dropping in the zone. Myers eludes one's got to get to the sticks, and he does it. Haven't seen the running attack of Kent Myers much today, but when he needed the first down the most, to the legs he went.
Oh my goodness, that is a play that this offense is needed. Look at the lanes. Air Force does a good job. They got to contain. They got guys there. The breakdown they missed, and they haven't missed in space much, but when they do, they've been made to pay in that situation. Getting the first down. Now this defense has to find a way to get some strength, but Utah State now, can they turn that momentum, keep this drive going, and put points on the board, tie the game up?
Have all 3 timeouts remaining in this game. Pitch to the near side, and a dangerous throw intended for Sharp goes as an incompleted pass.
I know Sharp didn't see the defender, but that was probably the best thing he could do in not catching that ball, because if he did, it definitely would have been a tackle for loss, if not maybe causing a fumble.
Weston Steelhammer, number 8. We've mentioned him on a number of situations.
And this defense, because of him and every other player, they've only given up 1 screenplay. And the coach talked about, we have to stop their screen game, and they really have.
That defense without Claude Alexander and Samuel Byers both hurt coming into today. And a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. 2nd and 10. Back to another 3rd and long for the Aggies. So let's look ahead to 3rd down, and what type of play would you dial up here?
Well, if I'm Utah State 3rd down, first thing I got to do is make sure my offensive line protects. They've been getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I spread them out. I look for the man coverage. If it's not there, I'm looking for my slot guy across the middle of the field or an out route. That's what I need to do. If I'm Air Force, show pressure, drop 8, drop back underneath.
Myers picks up the pressure, shoots the long ball, incomplete, and intended for Hunter Sharp.
That was a 3-man route. Air Force brought pressure. Myers tries to put it up there, help his quarterback or receiver out. Receiver couldn't find the ball to get underneath it. Tough play for Utah State. Great play for the Air Force defense to get them off the field. Now we'll see off this punt. If I'm Air Force, I pay attention, watching for a fake. Perfect opportunity to try to run right now, because they would not anticipate it on their side of the field.
Jake Thompson, the punter, just about ready to flip the field. Another outstanding kick. Garrett Brown with the catch, and Air Force will start this drive from its 24-yard line. 6:49 for the Falcons to bleed out and make Friday night's game at Boise State a big one. Welcome back. The Commander-in-Chief's trophy in the hands of the Air Force Falcons. 3rd time in 5 years.
White House in the last 5 years.
Recent visit with President Obama. Falcons have been the leader in the Commander-in-Chief's trophy over the years, but in order for them to win it this year, they've got to get some help. And namely, Army is going to have to upset Navy because earlier in the year, Air Force lost to Navy.
Good game.
Yep. Football at the 24. 6:49 left in the football game. 35-28 Air Force. Far more competitive than the last two games between the Falcons and the Aggies, in which Utah State in one of those games actually led 31-6 at halftime.
Offense has always been very explosive. The difference today is they've only gotten the offense going in chunks. They haven't been able to be consistent with it. With those other games, from beginning to end, they were consistent.
Now the Falcons will use as much clock as possible. Aggies have all 3 timeouts remaining. Roberts to keep, pitch the last moment. Good enough first down, or very close to it, pending spot.
Now
first down.
And here's what's interesting. He holds the ball as long as possible, got the ball out. Tyler Williams catches it. I wonder why Coach Calhoun said as he walked back, don't go out of bounds, because that's what he did. He got everything positive, and then he jumped out of bounds. At this point in the game, you got to know where you're at. You got to stay in bounds.
Football now up to the 34. Carson Roberts, mechanical engineering major. Good fake to his left, throwing to his right. But even with a catch, there wasn't anything available there. It's incomplete. That would have gained nothing.
That was nothing there. I would have loved to see Carson Roberts do a pump fake on that. Get the defender up, use his legs, and run. At this point in time of the game, you got to do what Myers did. You're going to have to make a little bit of magic to keep some of these drives going, keep his defense honest. And I don't mind trying to pass, but make sure when you do a pass, it's a pass that keeps the clock going.
And that was not the case there.
Now, if I'm them, give it to the fullback.
And Utah State smelled that out, realizing the fullback would likely get the ball. And with the stop now, a 3rd and long, 3rd and 10 coming up for Air Force.
And this is where the danger is when they threw the pass on the first down.
That was David Mwala, by the way, 51 up there to make the stop.
Yep, you put yourself in a hole with your offense. Now, they got the playmakers to kind of make some stuff happen. Look for Rabette or Griffin, the tight end.
This is not going to be enough for the first down. Roberts checked underneath, and Utah State's going to get the ball back after the short catch by Garrett Brown. By the way, Nick Vigil of Utah State has 18 tackles.
A tackling machine. This guy is all over the field, has a nose for the ball. And I love what the coach told us, Coach Kloon said, and there's still much more we have to work on, his pass rush. He said, Bobby Wagner, that was one thing that made him complete. He can do all that and his pass rush. He goes, we got to work on his pass rush.
Here's Steve Brosey to punt. He's down. Penalty flag all over the place. Rodriguez with a catch. He is snowed under back at his 17-yard line. And in fact, Brosey is still down. Here comes some medical help.
Yep. My question is he down, really down? Or if he's the
Personal
down.
Foul, roughing the kicker. Receiving team, number 22, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's going to allow Air Force to keep the football. It's on Brian Hayes.
Now let's talk penalties, because we haven't said much of it because both teams have really not done much. When you think about Air Force, they had penalties, especially Remo with the false starts, and that only cost them one touchdown or possibly a touchdown. This one right here, he gets blocked into. You got to know when you're going after a punt block, when you can get there and when to pull off. There was no way he was getting close. He should have been pulling up before he got to that point. But the penalty at the point in time this happens, it's crucial. They were punting the ball. Your offense is getting back on the field. Now you put the defense in a situation where they have to try to come out here and force a stop again.
Yep, it's a huge penalty. Just the second of the day for Utah State.
And both of them have been 15-yard penalties.
Yeah, Matt Wells, says, hang in there, guys. We've got to make a stop. Football now on the Utah side of the field at the 46. Down to 4:17 to go. And the Air Force will put the ball back on the ground in the fullback dive. Picks up a couple, actually 3 on first down. Jacoby Owens picking up the slack for the injured DJ Johnson.
He's getting it done. I'd stick with that type of play, pull it in, and get back to the outside. Williams has done a great job at getting those yards for you when his number's been called. And I would do that to the wide side of the field. Keep making this defense run. The longer they're out there, the more exhausted they get, the harder it is to execute.
By the way, you speculated a hamstring injury. It appears to be the case for DJ. On second down, Roberts the keep. They get him before he can get to the 40. They can use another 40 seconds on the play clock, though. That's what's important. So this ball will not be snapped until about the 3-minute mark.
Exactly. And I think when you're seeing one reason why Roberts has been given so much responsibility, he protects the ball. In so many times, pitch situations, guys going to try to force and make a play. He understands, no need to make a play. Let's eat up clock, keep the ball. Worst case scenario, you punt it, force him to go 95 yards if you can get down inside the 5.
Receivers are Garrett Griffin, the tight end, in the slot, and Jalen Robinette on the outside, who has over 200 yards receiving today and a touchdown reception. And before that will happen, Air Force will call a timeout. Big play coming up in this football game with 2:57 to go. Time now for our Capital One impact performance. Connor Sharp, 11 catches for 180 and 3 touchdowns. He is their long ball threat, and he has been just that and more today.
Surely has. You couldn't ask more out of your receiver on the road, making plays. I thought this one was crucial in the second half. It kind of got them going. And if they're going to win this game, defense has to force some type of stop, and he's going to have to be instrumental in it.
Back to live action, 3rd and 5. Air Force trying to keep the football, trying to bleed out the remainder of the clock, which ends at 2:57. Driscoll in motion, pitch right side, running to the edge. He is dropped. Nick Viggles, 19th tackle of the game.
4th and 4. First charge timeout.
Make that 20.
30-second timeout.
So many times in this type of defense, your inside linebacker is the one that has to tackle the back. Vigil, for his job, has done his part in regards of the run game.
Oh, by the way, that's a career best, but I'll bet you could have guessed that. 20 tackles? Man.
And like I said, the kid's only a junior. So there's so much more upside that he can do.
So with the football at the 41, 4th and 4 for Air Force, likely a punt situation. Try to pin the Aggies back and force them to go the length of the field to tie or win the game at the end.
Now, I would not recommend this, but this would be the gutsiest point to run a fake punt. But I would not recommend it at this point in time.
I would not either.
But it would be one of those gutsy plays. But as you see, Utah State is anticipating it. That's why they left the people out there, because that is something that could possibly happen.
Well, they're not going to try to hit the punter this time, which cost him 15 yards and a couple of minutes on the play clock. Rodriguez will let it go into the end zone. So here's a situation with 2:45 left and all 3 timeouts remaining for the Aggies. They must go 80 yards to have a chance.
Yeah, they
Check
got
that 2 timeouts remaining.
2 timeouts. They got to go 80 yards. And the success they've had today has been from the dynamic plays, the big pass plays that have gotten them those touchdowns. So if I'm Air Force, I'm making sure I keep a safety deep to help out. If I'm Utah State, play underneath, give the ball to your playmakers. Air Force has done a good job breaking tackles. Hope that you catch them at a time that you get through these tackles and get a big game.
And for Air Force, first place on the line in the Mountain Division of the Mountain West. 4 receivers set for Myers on a seam ball. Strike. And past the 40-yard line, first down to his tight end, Wyatt Houston.
Good play call, get the matchup, big tight end, and now you go with that fast pace. Forces defense and these DBs to have to cover. If I'm the Air Force, you got to show some blitz, drop back in some zone, try to confuse Myers.
Official spot at the 42, good for 22. Here comes the blitz. Myers able to get rid of it. And was it picked off? Or incomplete? No, incomplete.
They say incomplete, but they try to go to that screen that they had success at the end of the first half with.
Boy, in the middle of the field, that screen's hard to throw, isn't it?
Oh, especially with these defensive front, these linemen have to get after it. You can see right there, ball gets tipped up in the air, his tip is right there. Oh, it goes right on the ground. One more step and he might have had it.
Second down, and this should be 4-down territory for the Aggies with 2 timeouts and 2:27 to go. Air Force showing blitz, and they're coming after Myers to the sidelines. Ball caught, and a great tussle for possession right there as Hunter Sharp makes the catch. Sharp's 12th reception. He is short of the first down mark by 2.
From Utah State, I keep working the sidelines so that I have the ability for my receiver to get out of bounds. But look down at the bottom of your screen right here. They might have a matchup they like, especially if that linebacker does not drop underneath.
Instead, they'll give it to Devontae, and he is cut down. Mays running the football, and DJ Dunn, who has been big from the start of this game, makes a huge tackle for loss.
Making plays, 6'3", 240 linebacker, really coming into his own this year. Played spottily before this season, stepped in as a starter, and has been one of the catalysts for this defense.
As the crowd rises, the Aggies will use their second timeout. 4th and 2. Actually, no gain on that play instead of a tackle for loss. So let's go inside both huddles as the defense side is reigning supreme here at the academy. Let's start with Air Force first off and talk about defensively how they play this.
Well, the only way if I'm Air Force I play, the corner's got to come up, be aggressive and physical on the receivers. I would play like a cover 2 and have my safeties over top and have the linebackers show blitz and drop back and cover the back.
Utah State,
but
if
I'm Utah State, I have to try to do some type of rub pick route. I would use the middle of the field because you're going to get a stop clock if you get the first down. So I would somehow stretch this defense out and try to get somebody across the middle so that they can get that. It also makes it easier for the offensive line to run up and spike the ball.
Comes down to this for the Aggies. They need 2 yards and they have only 1 timeout remaining. If they don't make it here, it could be ball game. Little misdirection. Pass complete. Good play call by Josh Heupel, and it's a first down to Sharp.
That was a lot of motion to get to where they wanted to get. They were trying to get the defense off kilter. Defense semi-read it, but the person that was covering the receiver was in a little bit of a trouble position too far behind. Wasn't able to get there to help try to make that a more difficult throw.
Now the Aggies are at the 45 with 1:44 to go. 1 timeout remaining. Myers, quick throw, almost picked off. Wow, that was right in the direction of Ryan Watson, who almost had the Air Force seal a win here.
Well, he's throwing his hands up because he's not sure where the ball's trying to go, and it hits him in it. That is luck as luck can be right there.
2nd and 10.
Slot side on the bottom.
Rushing 3, dropping 8. Now 3rd and 10.
Miscommunication right there. Myers thought that Sharp was staying outside on the sideline. Sharp came inside. Miscommunication, 3rd and 10, when he had Rodriguez on the bottom of the screen on an out route with much more room to work. I like what Air Force has done with the defense right now. They switched up, playing a little bit cover 2, keeping both those safeties down in the middle to help those corners out. To see if this D line can bring some pressure to help Air Force get off the field.
Wyatt Houston, the motion man. Myers stepping up. Will he run it? Tries to elude one defender. He's going to run for it. He's got the first down. Kent Myers, big play for the Aggies inside the 25-yard line.
What can you say about Kent Myers? He's been bottled up the majority of the game. When they got that score to be within 7, he scrambled out. Same type of this situation. Air Force had an opportunity to tackle him. He gets out of the pocket, makes them pay. Now you're looking at a lot more manageable situation for your 4-down territory.
Remember, Troy Calhoun, Air Force coach, went away from a makeable field goal, gambled on 4th and 1 deep in Aggies territory that would have put them up by 2 scores. Myers shooting for the tie, touchdown to Sharp, incomplete.
Now this is where I don't agree. They went man-to-man, nobody in the hole, putting a lot of pressure on these corners. They've had a hard time today on these 9 routes, and I would not put them in that situation. I think it's important, like you said, they went for it, didn't get it. So now defensively, what you have to do is you have to make sure you keep them in front. You know they only have 1 timeout left. So if you keep them in front, if they do get a catch, you tackle them down, that's going to eat up more clock.
May have been intended for Swindle, actually. Now it's 2nd and 10 for the Aggies. Myers hit and incomplete. And we're back to a 3rd and 10. Seems like Utah State's been in that position a lot today.
Now here's the other crucial thing. All the points that Utah State has scored have been on big plays. Last week they struggled in the red zone. They were not able to put points on the board like they needed to after being down there 6 times and only coming out with 13 points. They're getting close to the issues that they had last week getting in the red zone.
Need to get the football, Jade, to the 19. Myers from the gun. A 3-man rush, got a receiver, Houston, first down. When in doubt, find your tight end. Wyatt Houston, big reception. The Aggies are knocking down the door right now with an opportunity to tie the game from the 11.
Alex Hansen, the defensive end, was crawling on the ground trying to get to Kent Myers. Kent Myers steps up, gets away from it. Great throw to the tight end. Look for some play here at the bottom of the field, possibly run or pass.
1 minute left. Myers stepping up, throwing for the top, touchdown! Incomplete.
Big time tight end trying to do a seam route. Corner does a good job of coming in.
That's Jesse Washington.
And knocking that ball out. You can see tight end has it, makes the hit. Good play by Washington to knock that ball out.
So now 2nd and 10. 54 seconds to go. 13th play of the drive. First place at stake. Myers in trouble, brought down. They're going to have to use a timeout, I would think, at the 19. And they will.
That's their last timeout, too. What pressure coming from the side. You can see Dunn coming in from the top. Also, Alex Hansen coming in there. There's nowhere. The hard part, when you get down this territory, the routes don't, if they don't open up quickly, that clock in the quarterback's head has to speed up. This defense, until today, had only given up 17 points. 28 is the most that they've given up at home. But when you get down in this territory, this is when you bow up. You think about the Buffalo Bills back in the day, the bend don't break defense. Teams used to move up and down the field all the time, but they got in the red zone, they couldn't put points on the board.
So at this point, are you thinking to try to get all 17 on this play after the 3rd sack, or do you try to cut it in half and set up a 4th and predictable but still manageable, I suppose, in some ways?
You cut it in half. You send one guy into the end zone, maybe 2. Work the middle of the field. You can always, so you got plenty of time for your line to get up there, but at least get yourself inside the 10 for that 4th down play.
47 seconds to go. No timeouts remaining for the Aggies. Falcons brought pressure the last time.
Look for Sharp in the slot position.
Snap to Myers. Steps up, looks, and throws to the 8-yard line. Intended for Wyatt Houston, incomplete. Might be a break, only in the sense that it stops the clock, but it would have cut that deficit in terms of yards in half.
Sure would.
Now they got to go 4th and 17, basically to the end zone. Yeah.
And so if I'm Utah State, I leave one guy on the weak side, I load the strong side, you got to run some seams and bring somebody across the middle. Pull them back. If I'm Air Force, I'm rushing 3, dropping 8. I know they got to get in the end zone.
Here's the ball game right here. Myers shooting for the end zone, broken up, and the Falcons are going to win it. And they're going to take over first place in the mountain. Weston Steelhammer.
Defense doing a good job. You can see it looks like his shoulder's a little bit hurt. He's not moving his arm there. Such a playmaker for this defense, doing what they needed to do to get this win. Last week, Utah State struggled in the red zone. They got down in the red zone. It was hard to get that execution going, but you can see right there, Steelhammer going over, stretching that arm out, making a play, knocking that ball down. Now the quarterback comes out and they do the play that all coaches like to do.
The V formation for victory.
Yep, that's exactly it. But a well-fought game. Both teams should be excited about what they came out here and done, especially when you look at how Utah State struggled last week. They put up a lot of points a day, but it just wasn't enough.
And Air Force goes into first place in the Mountain Division of the Mountain West with a record of 5-1. And we'll wait the outcome of Boise State, New Mexico later tonight. And for Troy Calhoun, the Falcons now short week to square off with Boise State in a monster showdown Friday night.
It is, and I think when you look at what this team does and the wrinkles they showed today, they definitely have the capability of winning a game. They haven't played so well on the road like they do at home, but that being said, they're on a mission. And if there's anybody or any program that understands taking a mission and what has to be done, I would say it's the Air Force Academy. And it's going to be exciting on Friday. I think these kids are going to go out there and fight their butt off and see if they can add to the stat of the losses that Boise State has had at home and not the wins.
And this is not your mom and dad's Air Force, because today they threw for 271.
271, nice big plays, especially when you're talking about a guy like Jalen Robinette, 6'4" receiver on the outside, very crucial in what today's game was, especially Carson Roberts, getting the ball to him. When you only throw the ball 12 to 14 times a game, you got to be perfect, and that's exactly what they were today.
So for Jay Taylor, Jim Barber, so long from Colorado Springs and the Air Force Academy. Final score, Falcons 35, Aggies 28. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.